On this map image, there is an object in the woods not very far from a roadway. It appears to be square in shape, and over different years, the area has been cleared around it. I want to locate it and find out what it is, but more so, I want to see if it's related to an area nearby which appears to be decommissioned. If you want to find out what I may or may not find, all you need to do is come along with me. For starters, I do want to say I can't take credit for this Google Maps find. This was given to me by a friend of mine who did locate it already and said, hey, you may be interested in checking this out. So the one thing I can tell you though is that not only am I really close to the item or location, well, I can actually see it right up there. We're just a stone's throw away. So let's head over there, check it out. This has probably got to be one of the easiest to locate Google Map targets. Now the item that I'm wondering if it's related to is actually straight down there. It appears to be possibly a decommissioned reservoir. We'll check that a little bit later on, but it does appear we have open door policy. Everything is open, doors, windows, it's tagged up. There's even swastikas on it. It's interesting. Looks like there is an older no trespassing sign from probably when this building was in use or operation, but it looks like it hasn't been used for quite some time. There's a little bit of a switchback road coming up to it. We're walking up it right now. It comes up and then comes right over to it. So it would have had vehicle access back in the day. And I do see my first clue that this may have been tied to that decommissioned reservoir. There's a pipe right there. There's some snow falling currently too. It's kind of adding to the scenery. I do hear the rushing water behind me. Other than that, it is a pretty quiet area other than the occasional vehicle passing down the road. Somebody has dumped some tires here as well. Like usual, I'm gonna head over there first, check it out, make sure it's safe to go into, get a feel for the place, and then if everything's okay, I'll grab you guys and we'll go along as well, check it out together. First glance though, it looks like the roof is in fairly good condition, and it looks like there's some newer rain gutters that were installed at some point. So maybe this wasn't in use all that long ago. But it looks like any locks or anything that were on it are removed, so it's definitely not in service or in operation at this time. So I have no fear about walking into an active building. But my curiosity is getting to me. I want to see what's inside. You guys hang out there, let me know if anyone's coming. I do have a little flashlight with me. Check out the basement first. There's slots here where pins would have went through for a pretty large, heavy door. It's long gone. So there's a door inside of a door. Would have had a, like I said, an outer protective steel door probably, or a gate. But there's a wooden door on the inside. All right, kind of interesting. More clues on the inside. Somebody was here recently. There is fresh footprints in the snow coming down the steps. Somebody was here either earlier today or maybe yesterday. Little shaky steel steps, graded deck here. Here's a big, this is the kind of door that would have been down there. It's got that latching mechanism on the inside still. And another wooden door on the inside. Wow, this is different. This room was also heated at one time too. I'm not going to say anything else, I don't want to spoil it. But that is definitely the more interesting of the two spaces so far. Those double doors there look like it was access into here for what's inside. Let's check over here really quick. This area is intriguing. Not only do we have the pipe here, there's a footbridge. Oh, wow, what is this? All right, this is a neat little find. Let me come down to get you guys, and we'll start at the bottom, work our way up, and come back here because there's something back here that I'm not positive what it is yet, and maybe you guys can help identify it. Looks like a rendition of Gary the Snail from SpongeBob, possibly. A vent, a type of window. I was looking at this when I first came. There is a little track right here. It may have been a sliding door in here back in the day, possibly. Either that or just a little tiny awning or covering for the door. And here's the areas where the pins would have went through to hold the steel door into place. And there is a gas line coming to this building as well. There's a pipe coming out right there. Another pipe right there. And as I explained, we go from metal to wooden on the inside. This actually took a skeleton key. How about that? That's got some age to it. Obviously this door would not be able to keep people out. Skeleton keys were a dime a dozen back in the day. That's why they had that steel door on the outside. So there is one of those pipes that we saw protruding outside the building. The gas line comes in right here. Back side of the door there. And then we come inside and there is the other pipe coming out through the building. We got some plywood, a really large pipe coming down from the upstairs. Let's step over there and see where that's going. That's going right down into the ground. Cinder block foundation. Not terribly old. This is not the full basement though, because the building itself upstairs goes in deeper that direction. For whatever reason it is blocked off here. It's not, it's concrete. I thought it was wood. Yeah, it looks like it just stopped right there. For whatever reason, it's not a full basement. Here though is another clue as to what we're looking at. A much larger pipe right there going underground. Right there. Outside. Big valve right here. I mean, I'll put my light down and show my hand for a comparison. So it's a good size one. Comes out through the wall. I have seen these before at numerous other reservoirs and pump houses. This is definitely one of the larger ones I've seen. And there's a little spout right there as well. As you can see. Wooden framed, or framing I should say, around the valve there. Concrete floor here, dirt floor there, and a Atlantic 5-gallon tin bucket. Doesn't appear, like I said, to be very old as far as the building. If I was to guess when it was built, I'm not really good with that type of stuff. If I was to guess though, I'd probably say maybe 40s or 50s. Maybe later than that, I don't know. But it doesn't appear to be out of service or out of use for more than maybe 10 years at most. Everything does seem, it's giving telltale signs that it was not left like this for very long. The only thing that's really dating this more than anything else is this door with the skeleton key lock. Other than that, the construction elements are still used today for the most part. Well, I think I covered this portion of the building the best of my ability, so let's continue on. Door was open when I found it. I'm going to close it behind me though. Don't want to let all the cold air in. So let's head to the steps here and we'll continue on with our tour to the upstairs main floor, which is, in my opinion, far more interesting than what we already checked out. Little hatch right there. He, I see you. Thankfully, we're not too far off the ground. I typically don't like see-through floors, but this one's perfectly fine. You may have heard too when I was exploring it by myself, when you guys are waiting. That's the locking mechanism for inside. As I mentioned, this is what would have been downstairs. That's what's missing currently. And just like downstairs, we are greeted with another wooden door with another skeleton keyhole. This one looks like it's been underwater with how rusty it is and peeling of paint. I always love the look of these though. It has such character to it to what you see today. And it actually still is working. We do have conduit coming in here for electricity, obviously. Looks like pretty modern conduit. We have fluorescent light fixtures. Here's the window. Did have a metal door as we've seen from the outside, but a wooden frame for the inside here, which I think is partially broken. Closed it the best I could. It's a little warped. So the gas, I'm guessing, is probably for this. This is a Resner commercial heater out of Mercer, Pennsylvania. See these in a lot of warehouses or garages. Moldy ceiling, some open air right there. But yeah, 100% gas lines for this, electricity is for this. And we have what I thought was originally a big tank. It's definitely not that. Oh, I know what this is. This is actually a covering for what's behind me. Oh. Now I know why the basement was kind of blocked off. Let me see if I can move this a little bit because there's some interesting things behind here. All right, that's a little bit better. So there is a little table right here. Small electrical box. Looks like there may have been two things mounted right there which are removed. You can see the conduit coming out. That was probably a thermostat, I'm guessing. That's a little bit better for you. Let's see if we could turn the heat up. It is kind of chilly in here. Oh, I think it's up all the way. Oh no, let's go. There we go. Now we can get some comfortable temperatures in here. 3-prong outlets right there. Another conduit box right there. There's the main conduit coming up. This is like a distributor. Of course, everything is removed. Just the shut-off valve. So I gotta watch where I step for good reason, because before I give away the grand item in here, there are some dangerous parts in here. That goes down probably 10 feet, maybe 12 feet. And that also is down there 10 to 12 feet. That's why we couldn't get over there before. So you're probably wondering, what the heck are we looking at? Well, I'm gonna show it to you soon, I promise. But there is an electric motor right here. General Electric. I'm going to try to get a still image for you of that card with the information on it, and it may be helpful to some of you. It's an old work glove on top of it. This, I don't know what this is here, but I can tell you though is that this is a type of pump, I believe. Looks like the impeller may have been in there. The pipe's going right over. So I believe electric water pump, if that's what we're looking at correctly. Just don't know what that box and that trough is for. Looking at the top, or working our way up to the top, we have those big sliding doors or double doors. I-beam going across, another fluorescent light fixture. And although I don't know what it is, I know what this is called. It's called a link belt traveling water screen. And this is what's inside of here. This is honestly a piece of machinery or equipment I have never seen before, never even heard of before. So a couple of things I can point out though is that it is chain driven. There's a large chain turning this big sprocket, just to show you the size of the chain compared to my hand. It's probably about an inch in width there. There's a screen right here, a mesh screen. It's really stiff, but it is a mesh screen. Then we have a larger chain going down into the bowels, which this almost reminds me of like a bucket system, like you see at some old quarries or plants, or maybe even a farm where they have like a well, and it's just a chain-driven bucket that just constantly lifts water out of the ground. That's what this reminds me of. This says traveling water screen, FMC Corporation, Material Handling Systems Division, Colmar, Pennsylvania. Manufactured under one or more of the following patents. And there is a order number, which is really hard to see. Okay, I'm actually connecting some dots now. So there's something on the back I do want to show you, which is coming inside of here, right there at that pipe. So that does make a bit more sense too, as to what we are kind of working with here. That is basically the inlet from the outside, which we're going to see in just a little bit. So I'm thinking I should maybe crawl down there, climb down there, because I'm just curious what else is down there too, but maybe to get a better look as to what's going on with this operation of this piece of equipment. So if those ladder rungs are sturdy, we're going to climb down and check it out, but let's see if they're sturdy first and we'll go from there. All right, I'm just going to give a foot test first. Okay, that actually feels pretty sturdy. There's not really anything on top of here to hang on to. I'm holding on tight because if this gives way, I'm just dropping like dead weight. Okay, so far so good. Where's the next step at? Is it missing a step? This is sketchy. I don't like going where I can't see or feel. That feels loose. Holy crap. I need to rethink this. That third ladder rung is bending under my weight. And I'm not standing on it at the moment, but I did feel it kind of sagging down. This is gonna be hard to get you guys once I'm down there. I'm trying to think how I could do this safely. All right, I'll check back in with you in a moment. I gotta figure this out. All right, I have my flashlight mounted to my hat, leaving the backpack up here. We're gonna try this again. When I get about halfway down, I should be able to grab you guys and make it the rest of the way. Definitely out of my comfort zone. I know to some people this is no big deal. For me though, this is kind of sketchy. I definitely don't like stuff like this. But I'm doing it for my curiosity and for yours. Get past that third rung. Where the hell is that one? You know what? I'm not gonna be able to get you guys. I'm gonna go down there, take some pictures with my phone, and I'll share them with you. This is too sketchy. Okay, I'm safely down here. You can probably see my light showing up there. So down here is the bottom of the chain mechanism. There's a big, almost like a scoop down here that looks like it would raise up to the top there. It's covered in debris. There's a bucket down here. There's a pipe coming through the floor. Can I get to the other side? I can't. So what we saw from the top on the back side of this machine or equipment, we can only see from the surface because it's just blocked down here. But this is pretty neat though, because on the inside of this bucket thing that I mentioned is some big gears, which almost look like a combination of train wheels and a ship steering wheel. They're connected to each other. This is covered in debris. This is definitely, I believe, a screening or a filter system, as we already know, for debris. There's a big pile of debris down here, kind of stuck against the filter, the mesh screen. So almost what we saw up on top is down here. It looks like this can rotate so they could clear it out. And I believe that's what's going on, because down below this, where the water would pass through, there's a pipe exiting this building, which is that big water main valve that we saw on the other side of the wall behind me. So water comes in this building against the wall over there that I showed you. It gets screened here for any debris material, passes through and exit out through the bottom. So this building, this basement down here, does see some water. I believe this may even get filled up with water when it wasn't used. I do see different water lines. So this is definitely, I believe, filled up with water, which is why these ladder rungs are so severely rotted. I'm surprised I didn't break them off, because there's only like 2 or 3 that are fully intact. The rest of them are kind of hanging on by dear life. But that's pretty much what's going on. Hopefully the pictures helped illustrate what I was explaining to you. And we now have a better understanding as to what was going on here. Glad I made it down. Glad I was able to get some pictures. But we're going to get up and out of here and go behind the building to show you where this whole process is kind of starting from. All right, safely back up on top. Definitely sketchy. One of the ladder rungs did snap on my way back up, but we're doing okay. I'm gonna walk in this trough here just to show you the back side. So if you couldn't already tell, that covering that I moved back went over the front of this. There's one here on the back side. Looks like this is a debris catcher. When that thing lifts up, all the debris gets kind of scooped into here or dropped into here. I believe that's what we're looking at. Electrical conduit there to another electric motor, which would drive this system up to rotate, to go from basically screen to screen. So although it doesn't look identical, this is rotated. This would kind of rotate under and go down. This comes up, I think it rotates to dump. And same thing with this. This is just another access area. With the back one, looks like the material may dump into there. So I think we covered this the best that we can. It is really interesting, as I'm always drawn to things related to water. I've definitely never come across this before. So this is a first for me, maybe a first for you, but if you definitely have more insight as to how this operated or any corrections to what I did explain, please let us know in the comment section. All right, once again, we'll close the door behind us, keep the cold air out. Now back here is basically the final piece of the puzzle for this building and how it operates and the source of it. You heard me explaining some of it downstairs, so now I can actually show you more of what I was explaining from the outside here. So we're going to cross over this pipe right here. There's a little footbridge and a grate system. Looks like an inlet channel for the pipe that's coming into this building in the basement. Well, hopefully this bridge is stable. Somebody already walked across this, so I think we're okay. Although I don't see anything in the immediate vicinity, it makes me wonder why this is here more than just crossing over to the other side. But what I'm really focusing on is what I explained, is this inlet channel, which I think I can possibly get down there, give you a better look at it. What it looks like is that water comes down this direction here, which is frozen at the time being, and would stop here and go inside there into the pipe, inside that filter system. Now there is a large grate right there on top, almost like a jail door. And then there's an opening right there, and then a blockage of material down there. So let's head down there, get a closer look at that. So under the bridge, looking at the flow, it's like it drops down here to a little box that is made out of concrete. It's squared off. There's a piece of timber right there, some blocks of concrete and stone, I believe. And then we do have this inlet here. Pipe runs across the top of it, but I don't think that actually has any purpose for this. But as I zoom in, there is the inlet that we saw coming inside the basement building, which would feed that filter system. I don't know how much water this would receive. This is not a really big channel here. Looks like it'd just be like a steady little stream or creek. But I guess potentially could handle more water or larger debris with this big gate or screen here. Just a couple observations as well is that this ridge line continues off in that direction. I'm not going to follow it. I don't have a need to. But it's the same ridge line that the pipe is sitting on, except that the pipe curves off right here. So looks like it's maybe an overflow or a alternate discharge area. Some animals have been using it as a little bridge. And here's another look at the building from this side. Hole in the roof. There's the vent for the gas heater. Electricity running into it there on the side. It's more fascinating on the inside than the outside, which sometimes is the opposite. I know I took a lot of time documenting this building. I may have went slower than some people would have liked, but when I document things, I like to go in detail. I like to check every nook and cranny, top to bottom, inside out, but I feel confident with what we documented today here with this. But now we're gonna move on to our second destination and location, which is what I believe a decommissioned reservoir. Now, when I did look on the Google Earth timeline, going back a few decades, it looks like it may have been in use in the 90s. I can't confirm or deny that because the image is not that great a quality, but it looks like the wall was more intact and there may or may not have been a structure down there. Going years after that, it was definitely decommissioned from what it was originally built as, where the wall was partially knocked down and the primary use of it looks like it may have been changed or altered. So we're going to deviate away from here, cut through the woods. It's not a far walk. I can actually see it from here and check that out and see if we could connect any of those dots, because I think there are going to be some dots connecting that to this. That was a slippery slope, literally and figuratively. The snow, the leaves, the branches and rocks. I slid a few times, but made it down safely. Building is right there, as you can see it. And as we pan over here, we are now greeted with some items of this old reservoir. We got a pretty intact section of wall right there. There is a pipe running through, which I believe is going to connect that to this. And then we have the older section of a stone spillway further in and some water flowing through on the opposite end. So once again, I'm going to safely make it down here, and then we'll see how far we could go and see what's going on, maybe understand why it was decommissioned. It's actually really beautiful down here. And look at this fallen tree. All these little holes in it. A lot of ferns down here too. And right here, we are greeted with some information I just spotted. Let's see. The North, it's like a mountain water supply company, 19, this is really hard to read. Looks like AD 1910. Actually, hang on, I do have a trick that you can use on tombstones that may work here. Okay, this may or may not help. Okay, North Mountain Water Supply, we got that company, AD 1910. This is TE 94188. All right, yeah, that worked. This is the same trick you can use on headstones that are weathered away. Kind of highlights the lows and highs. So looks like this was built 1910, although the building that we just explored is definitely more modern than that. But at least we know that's when this particular wall and most likely reservoir was created as a water supply. So I'm glad we found that. It's actually snowing out pretty good right now. I'm glad it's snow and not rain, because this camera is not waterproof, but it can handle some flakes. Just look at this wall. It is intact where we just were, and gets far worse deteriorated as we go along. There's actually some big rebar rods coming out of here. Big broken up chunk right there. But then down here is our connecting dot to where we just came from with that, what I'm going to call a filter house. This pipe is going off, and I believe up to the filter house. So there's another big valve down here. This one's got a gear on it, so when they turn it, it turns something else as well and allows flow to come through. I don't know how close we're gonna be able to get though to the water, because it's snowy and icy down here, so that just is a recipe for disaster, but we'll see how close we could get. Let me get you guys though, before I continue on, and show you what I just explained, and we'll do our best to get over to the flow. Yeah, so looking at this, looks like this was turned, which turned this. Looks almost like a gear reducer, possibly. That piece though is just hanging on, like it's teetering on the edge there with that fallen tree laying against it. Looks like it's not going to stay there much longer. But the pipe is on stilts, I guess you could say, or little supports as it does continue down. Let's walk down there, see which direction the pipe is going, and then we should be able to get closer to the water and walk up to the older spillway over there. And in case you're curious, this is public property. You are allowed to come here fishing. There are signs posted along the edge where I parked and along the roadway, so this is a fishing spot. You are indeed allowed to come here. So following the pipe, we're still following it. Looks like it's going underneath this rocky outcrop here. And it keeps going. I guess we'll keep going as well. Nice little shelter under here. Oh, look at this ice right here. That is gorgeous. Got distracted. Also some nature's carpet. That'll probably be included in the photo montage. But yeah, I'm standing up under this ledge right here. And got another one here. The pipe keeps going. Water you can see right there. pipe is still going. And it's curving off to the right. Without any 100% certainty, it's going obviously in the direction of the building, which is actually up over there. But it looks like it's maybe making a wider turn, either that, or it's just going off towards the roadway. So, not 100% certain it's connected, but I have a strong suspicion that it is. But it's got a nice little protection area here. And here is a beautiful winter scene. I'm gonna give you a moment without any talking or moving just to take it in. I'll actually set you guys down there near the water and let you guys hear and see what I'm experiencing here on the spot without falling in on this ice. All right, looks like we need to cross under the pipe, and this is, okay, it's frozen pretty good. This is a pool of water right here that I'm making fresh tracks on. That is solid ice. That's looking back where we just came from. The rocky overhangs over there. There's a broken section. Oh, I just noticed this. Okay. This may be another clue, but maybe not, as to why this was decommissioned. But we have a, oh, it just went in the water. Thought that would happen. All right, thankfully the boots are waterproof. We have a big break here. This section of pipe I thought was maybe just a discarded piece from being broken, or I'm sorry, replaced. Well, it looks like it did break off of here, and we have a big break. No longer can be in use, and we have frozen discharge coming out of it. So that is frozen solid. And this is looking the other direction. That's heading right towards the dam wall. Echo! It's a pretty good echo there. Just some residual water here. Yeah, this is a big break. I'm guessing it probably did break from frozen water sitting in there and expanded and weakened over time. Getting ever so closer. Worst case scenario, I can maybe cross the road and come down on that side. I don't think I can get all that close. I can maybe get to that rock right there, but there's open water in front of that, so that's gonna be the closest I could get from this side. I did want to get right over there to the waterfall, and I don't think I could walk on top of it. I'll double check. But regardless, it's still a really beautiful scene. Now, without any certainty, the one thing I am noticing is that I believe that there may have been a structure right here in this gap. 9 times out of 10 with reservoirs, there's always a pump house situated either in front of the spillway or on top of it near it. I've seen that more times than I could count. I'm thinking it was right here. Looks like a perfect cutaway space for it. There's also a pipe coming out of there which would have gained access to it, so I'm pretty certain the building that used to be here was located right there. But we are now on this rocky outcrop. This one's kind of jetting right up at an angle. And although there's ice here, I'm definitely not going to test the thickness of it or test my luck, because my luck, it's going to break through and looks like it's a few feet deep. But here's a look at the waterfall from here. It's definitely not flowing over the original spillway. The decommissioned area knocked it down and forced it to kind of go around the side of it, where back in the day, most likely it would have came over this entire thing right here. This is a stone built spillway. Not surprising, knowing this is dated to 1910. And here, January 2025, that marks it as 115 years old. So it's got some longevity to it. Looks like there may or may not be a marking up on top of there. I am going to try to scale this, although it's extremely dangerous now that it's snow covered. I want to see if I can walk over. If I could, that'll save me a whole heck of a lot of trouble. Now I'm really tempted to try to cross right here, but being alone, I don't want to get hypothermia. It's not worth the risk. Okay, let's just go back to my original plan. And if I can make it up there, we'll pick up there. If not, I'm going to cross the road. We'll take the long way. Well, apparently I wasn't using the full potential of my brain, because I tried scaling basically in front of this precarious piece. Where's that? Right here behind me on the front. That was a bad idea. I was slipping and sliding and came close a couple times to falling off. And I think my check engine light came on. I'm actually on ice. Not on my vehicle, on me. As I was kind of twisting and trying to navigate, I think I pulled a muscle or something in my lower rib section. But I'm now behind the old spillway. Maybe not the best place to be, but it was the easiest place to get to without having to walk all the way around. I believe this ice is thick enough, although I did hear a creak just a moment ago. But I should be able to safely make it behind here, closer to the spillway, and show you what's all here. And the snow is coming down relentlessly. It's a beautiful scene, but I don't want to keep this out in this conditions too much longer. So without wasting more time, let's trudge forward, and hopefully, fingers crossed, toes crossed, this ice is strong enough. Oh, I'm hearing some creaking. I'm just going to shuffle my feet. So as I'm inching my way over like an inchworm, here's the backside of the spillway. I believe, like I said, the building was right here, whether it's right here in the water or nestled on top. I still think it was here because there is that pump valve. Oh, look at that scene with the sun shining through in the snow. That's beautiful. All right, Jay, stay focused. What I thought was gonna be like a 20-minute video is taking significantly longer, but in a good way. I'm not complaining. Under the tree we go. Okay, so it's sunny and snowing. Now looking on top of here, there are numerous bolts coming out where something may have been mounted up here. I don't think I could get too close because it's actually pretty weak right there, the ice. So I'm just gonna zoom in to show you. So that's identical to the other side. That's going straight through like a rod into the water there. And the lower lip, like I said, is all these bolts coming out. Now on the other side over there is that retention wall made completely out of stone. It doesn't look like there's anything going to it. It just looks like basically what it is, a retention wall. So I'm not going to bother going over there. Not going to take the trek since we did make it safely over here. I did leave my tripod down in front of this though, so I have to go back and get it. Now if I knew this was solid enough, I would cross over right here, give you a closer look at the water, but I think we've covered this enough. I'm gonna walk around, search the area, see if I did miss anything. Oh, there's another pipe right there coming out directly below the building. It's probably the one that we saw coming out of that building. I'm gonna see if there's anything else substantially important that I missed. In the meantime, please check out my photo montage. I have to say, this was a really neat location. I absolutely loved it for a multitude of reasons. Obviously, being a Pisces, you guys already know I love water. I love reservoirs, water sources, swimming, snorkeling, underwater footage, all the sorts. So this is right up my alley. The building itself was super easy to locate and get to. Although I do appreciate a longer journey finding these Google targets, sometimes it's nice just to have a quick, easy one like this. And when I say quick and easy, I mean being able to locate it. Obviously, I did spend a considerable amount of time here because I want to document it in its entirety to fully show you what is here, both inside the building, around the building, and then coming down here, if you follow me this way, to the 1910 water supply, the old, now decommissioned reservoir. It is just remnants and ruins in modern day. But I do love that we found that 1910 plaque there, which does signify what it was, when it was built. But the one thing I do want to say is that I know I have a lot of intelligent and knowledgeable viewers who do watch my videos. So those of you watching who have any inside knowledge to what we witnessed here today, by all means, share it with me, because I do have some thoughts I will share with you briefly. But if you have knowledge on what we saw in the building and how that works, or about the valves coming out of the ground, or the different location of the buildings, or the pipe source, anything you're able to share, myself and the other viewers would greatly appreciate it. I don't have 100% certainty that that building is connected to this, but I think it's about 90-95% certain, because this is the water supply, that's water filtration. I'm thinking maybe water coming. Now, see, when I think about it, I start to question myself, because that's up higher, water flows downhill. This is lower than that. I was thinking maybe water came through the pipe, made it up there and got filtered. That would force water to go uphill. Now, there was a water pump in there, but I don't think that's the case, because the water was coming down that little creek bed into the building that way. So yeah, I don't know for certain. All I know is that I think it's about 95% certainty that building was connected to this water supply in somehow or some fashion at one time. And I don't know when this was decommissioned. All I do know is that back in the 1990s, it looks like it was still mostly intact on a grainy image, but that may have been when it was not being used anymore. And why they stopped using it, offhand, I don't know. It just looked like it was maybe just running its course, whether they didn't need this as a water supply anymore, or it's just going to be too costly to update and maintain with the old spillway, busted out pipe, stuff like that. Otherwise, I do want to thank the individual who did send this to me, because this was definitely right up my alley. I greatly enjoyed it. Hopefully you did as well. And the brief little snow squall that we had here certainly added to the beauty of this place. Anyways, take care everyone, stay safe. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming along, And until next time, I'll see you in the next video.